At Fever Tree, we think whether it's a gin and tonic, a delicious mule, or a sparkling Paloma, if 3/4 of your drink is the mixer, shouldn't it be made with the finest ingredients, mixed with the best? Fever Tree.
What is happening, Post Shifters? Welcome back to another episode of the Post Shift Podcast. Of course, I'm your host, Shawn Soole. If you haven't noticed, I am a little sick this week. I've been struggling with the flu for like the last week, which is very abnormal for me, but it is what it is. And I already had to cancel a couple of podcast episodes and a few meetings this week because of it. So I had to just push through now. So if I have to like lean off to cough, I apologize in advance. I'm really looking forward to today's show. I say this, I always look forward to chats. I love chatting to friends. I love chatting to people who I look up to. I love chatting to people in the industry who are doing cool things. And Kate Chernoff is the World Class Canadian Bartender of the Year. And she went on to Globals in Toronto a couple of weeks ago. And I sort of let her have a bit of a break after Globals, because Globals, we're going to chat about it, is an insane thing to be doing, and just an intense 5 days. So I wanted to give her a bit of a break just to get back to some normality, which isn't going to happen because we're getting into Christmas. We had a BCGUU strike here for 2 months, so we're all scrambling when it comes to operating our bars. And of course, the World Series is on, and last night, the Blue Jays and Dodgers went to 18 innings. So at about 11:30, I tapped out and went to bed, and then looked at the score this morning when I woke up, because I was just done with watching baseball for 6 hours. So, but welcome, Kate Chernoff. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Hey, thanks for having me. I'm excited.
Have you been on a podcast before? You've done podcasts already, haven't you?
You interviewed me at Nationals a couple of years ago. Yeah. And then I actually have a hunch my dad's going to be jealous because he has a podcast as well and he wants to interview me, but he has yet to do it. So not many, but yeah.
That's awesome. You can rub this one in your dad's nose. I'll let that go. So as always, like, I've known you for a really long time, like 5-6 years now, like, but pandemic-ish sort of time. So I've known you for like half a decade, and you're a Calgary girl. You're a Calgary girl, right?
Edmonton.
I always
so close.
And you're an Edmonton girl, and we're in Victoria, which is where we met, and we've had a lot of great parties and experiences together. But for the people who are listening, how did you get into bartending, and how did you get to the point you're at now?
Well, like I grew up like north of Edmonton, kind of middle of nowhere, and my mom was a bartender until she got pregnant with my older brother. And it's just like when I was growing up, she would always tell me these awesome stories about like how she would be bartending and like killing cockroaches with ashtrays and going out for Chinese food at 5 o'clock in the morning after work with her coworkers and breaking up knife fights. And I thought that sounds fun. And then my family throws a lot of awesome parties too. So I like was around hospitality my whole life. Like Christmas is a huge deal, all that stuff. It's always crazy. So I started hosting at an Earl's when I was 16, and I did that for years. I worked as like host support staff for probably 4 years at least. And then I was working at a restaurant in Victoria, and every Monday, it was like 2 restaurants that were kind of like physically joined together, but one was more pub, one was more bistro. And every Monday, the pub manager would manage like our lunch services that I worked. And every Monday, I'd be like, "Hey, can I bar back downstairs? Hey, can I bar back downstairs?" And probably drove them crazy. And then my first bar backing shift was like March 15th, 2020. So like days before the pandemic. Yeah. And then after COVID, I got the bar backing job, or not after, but when things were reopening, got the bar backing job at Clark & Co. in Victoria, where I learned how to bartend and all that stuff after spending the whole pandemic, like reading a million bartending books and watching like the masterclass segment with Lynette Marrero and Ryan Chetty. And yeah, then I worked in Victoria for a couple of years. Now I'm at the Keefer Bar.
That's amazing. So what was, when you look back over the last few years when it came to like, because you've done World Class a number of times, what were the moments that sort of pushed you into really like honing in your craft as a bartender and then going for World Class? Because World Class is a very daunting competition to enter to start with, and you've done it a couple of times now.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because I didn't really approach it, I think, the way most people do. And like, I'm going to become a really good bartender and then enter World Class. I had been bar backing for 6 months or pardon me, I'd been bartending for 6 months at Clark & Co. I had finished my year and a half of bar backing there. And Mike Norbury actually called me one morning. Mike Norbury he's like the Bacardi brand ambassador in Vancouver now, but he was bartending in Victoria at the time. And he called me one morning and he was like, the deadline for World Class is in 2 weeks. Like, you're not going to make it in this year, but you should practice entering because the registration is like quite rigorous and you have to do a lot of stuff. So I was like, okay. So like 3 days before the deadline, I like put a drink together, filmed a video. Brent Porter from Humboldt in Victoria, he like really talked me out of my like blue cheese, like charcuterie inspired cocktail idea. Thank God he did. I like went big and it was crazy. Yeah, so I entered like 20 minutes before the deadline, and then I got a phone call like 3 days later that woke me up at like 9 a.m. from Jeff Savage, and he was like, "Hey, you made it into regionals," and I was like, "Well, I didn't know." I was like,
Just
really?
Mike Norbury told me that wasn't going to happen. I had guarantees from Mike Norbury that was not going to happen.
I know, curse you, Mike Norbury. But yeah, I was like, wow, okay, shit. Or I don't know if I'm allowed to swear on this podcast.
You can swear. That's all good.
Okay, great. So I think I actually said, "Oh fuck," and then yeah, and then I ended up going all the way to nationals and made the top 4 that year.
That's
no one knows more surprised than me.
What year? That was that 2022?
That one I would have entered in 2021, I think.
Because that was the one that was held in Calgary. No, in Edmonton was the nationals, right?
Edmonton was regionals and nationals were in Montreal, actually.
That's right.
Yeah.
So from then on, like you've continually competed in World Class. How have you taken the competition every single year when it's come about? Like, was there a point where you're like, oh, I'm going to take a break this year, or I need to do it this year? Was there something that like kept you motivated on that?
Yeah, I think I did it 2 years back to back and made it to the top 4 in nationals my first 2 years that I did it. And then I kind of got to the point where I was like, what happens if I win this thing? Like, I was genuinely afraid. Like, I don't really know. I remember like my first nationals, I made it into the speed round and they gave us a list of like 30 cocktails that would be like the classics, whatever. And I had like 2 hours before the speed round to prepare, and I had to call in one of my other top 10 finalists to be like, can you teach me these specs, because I don't know how to make any of these drinks. So I think it kind of dawned on me after my second year, with like some like chats and support from other people who I like look up to. We were just kind of was like, if I won, I would be in trouble. Like, this isn't my time to win. So I took a year off to like focus on working, to do some traveling. I finished my W sets 2 and 3 in wine too, just to like learn how to taste differently and appreciate like terroir and like geography when it comes to like wine and spirits differently. But honestly, the thing that kind of kept me going throughout the whole thing was that when I first met the whole World Class Canada crew, when they were in Clives and we did that live podcasting after James won in Globals, I remember I just was like, oh, I want to be Caitlin Stewart when I grow up. And after that, like, I basically just like kept that whole mentality the whole way through, and I was like, that's what I want to do. And yeah, that was the motivating factor behind it all. And I guess too, like, I grew up being, hi Leo, I grew up being as a competitive synchronized swimmer, and so I think when I retired that competitive part of my life, when I realized I could do competitive bartending, I was like, well, now we're talking.
So leading up to this year when you won nationals, every time you were competing and then you'd come away from when you hit the nationals, did you come out of it going, okay, I need to focus on ABC, and that was your goal? Like you were just mentioning W set 2 and 3 about tasting and learning those sort of things. Were the things you came out of every competition that you were like, I need to focus on these 3 things to up my game personally as a bartender, but also get myself ready for the next time?
That's a good question. I think it kind of changed after every year that I competed. My first year that I went into it, my mindset was kind of like, I don't know how I got here, but I'm here somehow. And what a treat. And so I just thought, I'm going to do everything as like to represent myself as much as I can. Like, I'm going to, every weird, wild, wacky, like ridiculous idea I have, because like, it's my first time doing it. Like, I'm just going to like throw spaghetti at the wall and see if it sticks. And then after that, for my second year, I thought, okay, like the judges know me now. I felt, I don't know if like pressure is the right word, but I wanted to show like growth and improvement. So I tried to like refine my style, like improve my technical skills. make my drinks more complex in terms of like techniques and stuff like that. So, and then I got the feedback that I wasn't showing enough of myself anymore, like that I had kind of conformed to what I thought they wanted. So then my third year going back into it, I was like, I'm just gonna stick with my weird ideas and try to look as polished as I can while doing them without really refining too much and keeping like the hospitality and the service at the forefront. I don't think, well, I love bartending and I love like the guest communication part of it and the hospitality part of it, but I'm not personally in it for like the nerdy sciencey stuff. So I was like, I don't know why I would spend a year trying to learn all this to get ready. Kind of like the same mindset I think Tegan has. Like, I'm not going to try to like change myself to show off like parts of myself that don't really like align with why I'm in the industry. So it's just like, I'm going to do a lot of the stuff that I like and see how that lands.
Do you feel like you did something significantly different going into this year's nationals when you won nationals in it was nationals in Whistler this year, wasn't it?
It was basically the Whistler of Ontario. It was the Blue Mountains.
Yeah. Yes. I just saw like lots of logs and snow, and I was like, "Oh, it's Whistler." It's very West Coast to me. Did you go into this year's nationals doing something specifically different, or you just lean into that being yourself sort of mentality?
The only real difference that I had this year was, or this past year was, apart from the first 2 years when I was just, I'm gonna try really hard and see what happens and have fun. This year I went into it going, I'm gonna win. Like if I don't win this year, like whatever, I'm not gonna be a sore loser about it, but like this year I'm not going in to compete and get experience. Like this year I want to go in and like be a shark and like win and pull at all the stops and yeah, just really give it. So I think it was more of like a mindset switch about my intention in the competition, but not really a tangible, like, I don't know, I didn't change like my method, I guess.
So how did everything change as soon as you won nationals? Obviously, there's a bit of a furore after the nationals and getting photos taken and media and press releases and all the fun stuff. When did the preparation for globals sort of click for you? Is it because I know that Michael and the whole Team Canada sort of really lay out the road to globals for every national competitor? We have one of the best teams behind that, and I want to get Michael on the podcast because I want to show the rest of the world how Canada lays it all out. Was there a break for you, or was it like media furor, you won nationals, everybody loves you, Vancouver, all of Canada, and then straight into global prep?
Luckily, there was a bit of a break, which was very nice. I came back, I think it was the end of March. I don't even remember. It feels like so long ago now. But yeah, I came back and then it was a very warm reception and welcome back into the city. Of course, it was so sweet. And then I kind of got thrown into some big events. So I got flown out to Toronto to compete, or pardon me, to bartend at Canada's 100 Best. And then I came back to Vancouver and worked 50 Best Bars like award ceremony in Vancouver too. So it was just sort of like, oh wow, like what am I doing here? It was pretty crazy. So there was a lot of, like you were saying, like media and things like that and interviews and that sort of stuff. And then basically like June, like the month of June and a bit of July, there was not a lot going on until we got the challenge package, apart from the fact that I was preparing for the Kettle One challenge, that the community initiative that usually happens every year. So I was working on a challenge that didn't end up getting put into the challenge pack at the end of the day because they changed it this year, which is fine. So I don't know, I was kind of tinkering along and thinking about like the brand notes of all like the spirit line that I would want to focus on, and just watching a lot of the Diageo Bar Academy like mentorship sessions and stuff like that, just whether I was like cleaning my apartment or whatever, having it on the background to kind of always keep it in the back of my mind. But yeah, it was in terms of World Class, like those summer months were pretty tame. And then, but I work at Keefer Bar in Vancouver, and it was like the busiest record that has ever been on summer here, or pardon me, the busiest summer that's ever been on record here in the 15 years we've been open.
Wow.
So it was just like get cranked every night until 4 o'clock in the morning. So yeah, I kept busy.
So how does when you do get your package, is there a time when you sort of get left alone to be like, look over that package yourself personally and go, okay, well, this is what I'm going to be working on, and then the Team Canada mentors sort of come in and start getting picked off per challenge, or like are they just sort of a group where they just give you pointers? Because obviously when they do nationals, they're judging you and giving you critique. And then the switch flips from nationals to globals, and it's like, okay, now we're going to be your best friend mentors, and we're going to help you along this journey to get you to globals and help you through globals. How does that sort of work as you step up into globals?
Yeah, well, we pick our mentor like chaperone before the challenge pack comes out. So when we got the Zoom call that was kind of breaking down the challenge pack for all of us competitors, Chris, my mentor, Chris Enns, who runs the beverage at Paya in Vancouver here, we were on the Zoom call together. So as soon as we got the package, it was just kind of like, all right, let's meet up tomorrow. Let's get lunch and talk about the whole thing. So pretty much it was right off the hop. All the ideas like come from me, and then we work on them together, but definitely the whole team gave amazing feedback, and I often have ideas that are kind of like need to be really brought down and minimalized, and like that quote where it's like always take off one accessory before you leave the house or whatever. So definitely it was very grounding, and they helped me like focus in on my ideas so that it was like the content was like just as strong as the concept, so it could be like actually tangible and not just I have this crazy idea in my head and it's like, okay, that's great, but it needs to taste good and make sense to other people.
So was one of the crazy ideas the multiple wardrobe changes in one of the challenges at globals? Because that was crazy just to watch like the stories pop. Like, is this a different challenge? No, it's the same challenge. It's just multiple costume changes through the same challenge. So coming to globals, how many challenges were there for this year?
We had John Julio, Kettle One, Singleton, Johnny Walker. Yeah. Nope. 5. I think there was one more, but I can't remember what it is. Oh, and Kettle One was a surprise challenge. And then, then the other ones that after for the top 10 and stuff. Yeah.
So going into globals, how did you prepare mentally and like on a personal level to compete at globals?
That's a good question. I mean, the nerves definitely got the best of me. It's, that had been a goal of mine to get to that point for like 4 years after I had been competing like twice, took a year off, and then finally got there. Honestly, I don't know if there was a lot of mental preparation. It was just a lot of like consistency. So I would sleep for 8 hours, wake up, work on World Class for 8 hours, go to work for 8 hours, go to bed and sleep for 8 hours. And I did that for 2.5 months, 3 months maybe when I was, that doesn't make any sense. 2 months probably when I was getting ready. So it was just a lot of consistency, a lot of, reaching out to the team and being like, is this crazy? And what do you think of this scoring breakdown? And it was just, I really like fixated on it really, really hard and this tunnel vision into it for the whole time since the day I got the challenge back.
What was your favorite challenge out of the globals?
The Singleton challenge was definitely my favorite. It was the sensory sessions, they called it. So we made a 6-minute long music track that they pressed onto vinyl, and we designed artwork for the vinyl as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then we had to make one drink with Singleton and kind of have it be like a whole sensory experience where the drink ties into the art, ties into the music, and that presentation. And my brother is a drummer, so I had him and the producer that he works with out of Edmonton make like a custom track for me. So every like 30 seconds when I would switch ingredients in the drink, the music would like change tempo and all the instruments would change to like complement that ingredient and kind of tell the story. But I also got to tell like funny anecdotes about my brother and I growing up and stuff like that throughout the challenge. So that was definitely my favorite one.
So watching everybody else compete, because obviously it was a Canadian global based in Canada for the first time. Canada has won more World Class than any other country, I think still to this day, any other country combined. Did seeing other countries competing at that level show you new perspectives in the cocktail culture all around the world?
Yes. Yeah, definitely. It's fascinating to see like countries where it's like I've never even been to that continent before, and this is the kind of drinks and the culture that they have and what they're putting out there. That was really interesting. The prep room was madness, and seeing what everyone was working on and just everyone's different approaches to the challenges too. And I think one thing I found really interesting was that like local ingredients in your market, like if I put maple syrup in a cocktail, everyone here is like, oh, woohoo, maple syrup. But I mean, if other countries were bringing out like, oh yeah, like the Australian competitor James, he had this like berry in one of his drinks, and he was like, oh yeah, I can't remember the name of it. He's like, oh yeah, it's blah berry. And I was like, it's what? And he was like, it's just this berry. And I was like, that's I've never heard of this berry before. So I think it was definitely cool to just see like all the other like local ingredients and just like a showcase of like, here's what's the best that I have from back home, and now it's in this room with 50 of us.
So now finishing up globals, obviously the announcement, sorry, which country won this year?
Norway.
Yes.
Yeah.
I should do my
Felice.
I was just thinking about you and Canada, and as soon as Canada wasn't like, and then I was like, oh, no, I don't care about the country. Post globals, how was your feeling afterwards when the announcement of the winner was announced, and how was your feeling afterwards?
It was, I mean, I was pretty disappointed. I was quite sad for a long time, honestly. I there's a lot of pressure with it, with the like all the past Canadian winners, the fact that it was in Canada, and because imagine like Tales the cocktail, it's like, you know, everybody there, like it was that whole kind of thing. And so I had like the utmost support, like so many people like cheering me on. And then when the top 10 announcement came and I wasn't in it, I was like, I was like, thanks for coming, guys, I'm just gonna I'm just gonna get out of here now. But I mean, like I'm so proud of myself. Like I think like a quote that I kind of live by is, what would you do if you weren't afraid? Like if you could just take like fear out of your mind, like what would you want to do and how would you do it? And I definitely went into it with that mindset, and everything that I had control over, I think went really well. The only thing I would have changed was the scores.
Well, I think you've done enough boot camps, and we do so much here in Victoria when it comes to that sort of stuff. Like I always say, same drink, same judges, different day, different outcome. And that's something I've always preached, is like, it's just someone could have an extra cup of coffee because they were tired, or they woke up, they didn't have a good night's sleep, and it just changes so many perspectives. And so you can only control what you can control.
It's true. Yeah. And yeah, I mean, there were 5 different rounds. I can't think of a single round where I didn't make at least like one technical error. Like I had a cocktail that had foam on top of it, and like I put foam on 10,000 cocktails, Shawn, and it's just, I tested it in the sink and everything. I was like, all right, let's foam this cocktail, and it was like, oh, and I was like, oh. I was, but it's funny, that drink was supposed to be like a riff on like a black and tan, the beer cocktail. So I was like, oh, it's even foaming like a beer. But yeah, you know, that doesn't win you globals.
Post global, how are things changed for you? Because I know that obviously World Class Canada does keep on all their national winners to do events and to speak and bartend all over the country. Have you had a bit of a break after globals before getting into like what's next?
Yes, yeah, I think things will kind of ramp up starting next month. Yeah, I'm expecting to spend a little bit of time in Toronto in November, and yeah, then we'll get the show back on the road. So I don't know, it's kind of funny because I haven't done it before, right? So I'm just waiting for an email to see when I get to go on tour. But yeah, I'm really excited for that part, to kind of get to go around, meet the other bartenders who are entering, and yeah, be on the other side of the bar top and judge and stuff. I think it's going to be very fun.
Do you think you'll want to compete on a global level, like Bacardi Legacy or one of the other global competitions again, or do you think you're sort of settled in and you're sort of done?
That's a good question. I think if you would have asked me like 6 months ago, I would have said this is my last one and then I'm done. There is the opportunity for me to compete at the global level again with World Class. I have to wait at least 1 year, but I could do it one more time if I wanted to. And I think getting close.
I can already see it in your eyes that you're going to. I can already, your body language is just screaming like, is that 1 year over yet?
Literally, yeah. So I don't know. Definitely a maybe. Yeah.
That's nice. So what's your plan on a personal level? Like, how are you balancing out work? Because I know we've talked in the past about like balancing out an actual job because you get paid to work and you're at one of the best bars in Canada. How are you balancing that off with your new role and new things that you're doing with World Class?
Well, I'm very lucky that the whole Keefer team is very supportive and understanding of like the time away and things like that. So I'm just getting through it one time off request at a time. Yeah, it's yeah, they're super stoked for me. It'd be great to like build on top of it, maybe do like some extra pop-ups or events or whatever and tag along onto it. But yeah, that one I'm still kind of, we're gonna take that one as it goes, I think. So
What's your favorite point of bartend? What's your favorite thing about bartending still now? Like, I know that you're still young, but you've done all this, you've accomplished so much, and I'm so ridiculously proud at how far you've come from like working at Clark and Company. Because I remember sitting in the bar at Clark and Company and you bar backing. Like, what's keeping you motivated to keep pushing through on the industry?
good question. I mean, it's not nothing, I promise. I'm just trying to narrow it down. That's a really good question. I mean, there's still the like the joy and the buzz that you get from making someone like their first Sazerac and they love it. Like just like the things that seem like simple are still like very exciting to me. But I think right now it's definitely like the industry community, all the friends that I've made in it. Like if I for whatever reason stop bartending right now, like I'd have no friends. So it would be nice to, it's nice to just like have such a great community, and then also to kind of invest in more people who want to have like similar career trajectories that I've had, you know, like to help other people get up to the point where they feel confident and comfortable competing and doing all some of the crazy stuff that I've done. So yeah, just investing a little bit of it back, I think.
Nice. What would you tell your younger self, bar backing at Clark and Company, what the future might hold? What a piece of advice would you give her?
Oh my God. Read more books. Read more books on classics. I would say, I don't know, just like dig in, honestly. I think I spent a lot of time worrying about being too young and being too new and being too green, and worrying took up a lot of like space in my mind, whereas I could have been using that space in my mind to like dig into it and commit to it and get excited about it. So probably just to have worried less.
So as you start touring the world, because you are going to be, you're at Edmonton born, Victoria trained, I suppose is a good way of saying, and then Vancouver based now. How are you taking that on the road when it comes to like showcasing the smaller markets? Because I know that we both know Edmonton has an amazing cocktail scene. Victoria has an incredible cocktail scene. We sort of get overlooked quite a lot, but how do you take that with you when you go out in the world and start talking to people in Asia and on the East Coast or in the US, and explain to them how good the cocktail culture here is in Canada?
That is a good question. I feel like they wouldn't believe me, but it's true. That's a really good point. I mean, I guess just thinking about, I think kind of like a good example of it is like when you're walking through like downtown Victoria, there's so few like chain restaurants and franchises and things like that. Like so many, like probably like upwards of like 80%, if not more, of all the restaurants in Victoria, I would say, are like mom and pop shops or like locally owned, and they're like a one-off thing. So I think it's just really about the individuality that Canada and its smaller markets has, and that we're not really trying to emulate New York, and we're not trying to emulate, you know, like San Francisco or like whatever. Like those might not even be good examples, but we're not trying to be anything else. We just kind of have like this gritty individual sense of hospitality and really good food and drink.
I feel like we're like a mini Portland. That's sort of like little space. And it's always funny because when I talk about Victoria, they're like, I get sort of almost eye rolls going, yeah, Shawn, you're just talking about Victoria because you're a Victoria boy. I'm like, no, like I'm being honest.
Yeah, it's true.
Like, and I love Edmonton as well. Like Baiju Bar in Edmonton is absolutely epic.
Yeah. Oh my God, yeah, me too.
So we're at the point of the podcast where I ask 5 deep podcast questions. So these are questions that every guest gets every single time, and they're very deep, reflective questions for people who are listening to listen to and reflect on. What is one lesson or experience that has shaped your perspective the most, and how do you carry that forward in your life?
Like a bartending related experience or just anything?
Anything.
I think when I was training as a synchronized swimmer, I tried out for the farm team for the Canadian Olympic team twice, and both times when I went to those tryouts, it was like something ridiculous. Like they took the top 12, and I came like 13th both times. Like it was just like I've had a lot of success and like worked really hard in my life and at a young age, and I don't take it for granted. But and then I think like with globals too, like I think just you can still be like very proud of yourself no matter like what the scores entail or like anything like that. Like you don't have to win world class to win world class. You don't have to like win to win, you know? So I would say just being proud of like yourself apart from any results or anything like that.
If you could leave one lasting message or piece of wisdom for the world, what would it be and why?
Probably just my kind of own personal mantra, which is what would you do if you weren't afraid? Like when you're in a moment where you're really motivated, you really want to do something, but there's like a million things telling you not to or how to or why you shouldn't, freaking you out. Just like try to like take a second, take a breath, just say like if there was no fear like in this situation whatsoever, like how would I approach it and what would I do?
I do love that one. That one stuck with me. You've said it a couple of times during this episode. I'm like, that one stuck with me a little bit because I am afraid of new things all the fucking time. And now I'm like, okay, maybe I should just start telling myself, like reaffirming some mantras for myself.
Yeah.
Looking back on your journey, what is something you wish you'd understood earlier in life?
Classic cocktail specs. Just kidding. Something I wish I'd understood earlier in life, like when I was 5. No, just kidding.
I was about to say your journey is very yes. very accomplished, but still quite short.
Something I wish I'd understood earlier in life. Probably that, you know, everything like building your like community and your team and everything is like so important, but and keeping all those people really close is like the most important thing, because beyond the people who are like in your bubble and supporting you, like what everyone else thinks about you and thinks about what you're doing isn't relevant. So like kind of like doing stuff for yourself, doing stuff to uplift the people like in your circle, and then like everything else is just kind of noise.
Just dropping bombs here, Kate. How do you define success, and has your definition of it changed over time?
I think success is being like happy and comfortable and healthy, you know, just waking up and liking what you're doing and being like feeling grounded, but like so grounded and like kind of rooted that you still feel comfortable like pushing yourself, and then keeping like yourself and your mind healthy and good company. Yeah.
What do you hope your legacy will be, and what steps are you taking to build it?
Ooh. I hope my legacy is just kind of someone who just kind of like gives it, you know, like just giver. I think I try to be very, very optimistic all the time. I don't think that pessimism is a very useful thing to apply to my life. And so I hope that my legacy is someone who just worked really hard, had a lot of fun. I love having fun. That's very important to me, and is very optimistic. So I guess I just try to work hard, have fun, and be positive every day. Those are the steps I'm taking. Perfect.
And just so we can do a bit of a plug for World Class, so Mr. Michael is very happy with me. If there was
and me
and you, if there was a piece of advice out there for a young bartender who has been on the fence, because I know that there's a lot of young bartenders that have come out of post-pandemic bartending, and as you like yourself and Harry and that sort of thing, and sometimes the competitions are very, very daunting. What's the piece of advice you'd give them to sort of take away that pensiveness to like actually enter and go through with it?
Get Mike Norbury's phone number. I would say I honestly, what I would say is keep like a finger on the pulse and find out like early when those competitions are happening, so you have lots of time to like prepare your drink, prepare your thesis. I'm saying this as an avid procrastinator, so do as I say, not as I do. But if you're feeling anxious about entering, then like just get ahead of it, think about it, have your friends try your drinks, like make your drink at your bar for guests and see how they receive it, how they like it. practice like telling the stories over and over again, so that when you're recording that video when you enter your world class, if that's the same formatting this year, and when the judges are trying that drink, when we're trying all the drinks and judging them, we're not the first person to taste it either. Like, get some feedback from people who you trust, find a little bubble, and find some people who are gonna root for you and cheer you on.
Yeah, that's good. That's because I know that the cocktail you put with the submission has to be able to be replicated by the judges to try. And I've always had discussions with bartenders here because we have some really great little grocery stores. I'm like, you can't go to Market on Yates and class that as a regular grocery store because they have some great syrups on the back bar and like they have a whole selection of bitters. You can't base that as a grocery store. Go to Save on Foods, and that's what you have to class as what your non-house made ingredients are. You can't go to Market on Yates and get this Teledisma like blueberry syrup from the shelf because no one else has that on any shop. So I've gone to Vancouver and they're like, I'll just go to this store. Of course they'll have it. And I'm like, no, they don't. They don't have it at all.
No, yeah. And just, like if you should feel confident making a delicious drink with simple ingredients, just do it. It's as much as it's, people always want to like show off in the entry round and like do the most and be like, I'm like, look, I'm very talented. I have these good ideas. Like, look at that. I think starting off, it's like, just make a real damn good drink.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like my first drink that I entered World Class was a Tanqueray No. 10 martini with a gooseberry muddled into it and sea salt. And that took me all the way to, that one drink didn't, but that's how I got into World Class my very first time. So it was like maximum 5 ingredients. I only used 4. So, it's not rocket surgery. Just make something tasty.
And that's the one that Mike Norbury said that you wouldn't get in. You won't get in.
And I know. And here I am. Thanks, Mike.
One last thing. What's your favorite classic cocktail to imbibe?
I have 2 that I flip-flop between really hard, and there couldn't be more different. It's either a Sazerac, like 50-50 or New York style or whatever, or a porn star martini.
Interesting. Porn star martini, just a flip on there.
Yeah, it depends on my mood.
That's a hell of a dichotomy between classics.
I know. That's that's just how it's like my left brain and my right brain, I think.
It's just like a John Malkovich being in John Malkovich's head moment, whereas like being in Kate Chernoff's brain, one side is a Sazerac 50-50, one side is a porn star martini.
Yep.
Well, again, congratulations on everything for World Class, and I've always texted you and tell you how proud I am of you, and like because I've seen you from bar backing to this, it's just an amazing achievement over such a short period of time, and you are a ridiculously talented bartender. And as I said at the start, like I enjoy talking to people who I look up to, and so it doesn't matter how old I get, I'm still going to look up to youngsters like yourself. So I really appreciate your time and say thank you so much for being on the show.
Yeah, thank you. This was a real treat.
And tell your dad
again sometime.
I'm going to send you the link for the podcast for this Friday, and you can forward that to your dad and just rub his nose in it a little bit more.
Okay, good. He'll love that. We'll do a podcast and talk about you. We could all 3 of us do it together.
We could definitely do that. But thank you so much for your time, Kate. Chat to you soon.
Appreciate it. Bye.
All right, post shifters, that's it for now. Keep your standards high, your spirits neat, and your team tighter than your porkos. Catch you next week on the Post Shift Podcast.